Hey everyone, this is Ryder from Skip. I hope you're doing well. I have a very quick video today. So this is good news that came out yesterday. The Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin suggested that certain PPP loans should be automatically forgiven, period. So I'm going to talk about who this could apply to, what he said yesterday before the Small Business Committee, and what this timeline might look like and why it's so important, particularly as Congress talks about potentially allowing for another PPP round. So if you took a PPP loan, there's an opportunity being talked about to allow businesses to get another round. And I'm going to talk about what types of businesses those are too. But first, the big news. Here's a headline from Forbes. Could 86% of PPP loans be converted to grants? That's what Steve Mnuchin is pushing for. This is what he testified about yesterday in Congress. So let me show you what he said here. So basically, here we go. The call for PPP loan forgiveness. Last month, two bank lobbying organizations asked Congress to automatically forgive PPP loans of less than $150,000. Now, why $150,000? First of all, that's the vast majority of loans that were distributed. For those of you who saw our other video earlier this week, the PPP released recipient data for anyone who received over $150,000. You were named to help with accountability, and those are all publicly available, and we publish those too at helloskip.com/PPP-data. You can look up any loan that's greater than $150,000 and who received it where. Okay, but that's only 14% of the total loans, even though that's around 3/4 of all the funds borrowed in the program. Okay, so basically, the main point is that 86% of all the loans provided were for less than $150,000. Okay, but that's only 26% of the total loan amount. So it's basically a lot of people that took smaller amounts of loans, but it doesn't take up the majority of the money. And here's one of the reasons why this lobbying group wanted this to take place, and Steve Mnuchin agreed. Okay, they wrote, small business owners, quote, time and resources would be better focused on getting the economy safely back up and running, not processing burdensome paperwork. And we can completely attest to that. Right, we've helped lots of people apply for the grants and loans, and now we're getting inundated with questions about forgiveness, especially with the new safe harbor rules and the 24-week period. How do you spend it, and what counts for that, and is it still applied to the 60% rule? Right, so a lot of things that have changed, frankly, every week. Seemingly it's changed. It's only changed a few times, but it's confusing for businesses. So that's the main point, that they don't want businesses to stress out about this paperwork when they should be focusing on how to survive as a business. And here's why. You know, we've seen tons of headlines like this. These business owners got a PPP loan, but it may not be enough. Around 84% of small businesses that received a PPP loan will have exhausted their money by the first week of August. It's for a couple of reasons. One, that was kind of the intent of the PPP back when it was first thought of, beginning of April, end of March, by the way, for the CARES Act. Obviously, no one predicted that we would have this insane infection surge now in July and through the summer. They thought, okay, it'd be under control, maybe things would be back to normal, right? No one saw this coming. So businesses have planned accordingly. I spent time talking to a restaurant yesterday here in the Bay Area that just was stressing out about how to spend the money, how to get to the 60%, basically just concern over how to get this forgiveness. So I can attest to the lobbying group that businesses are frankly stressed out about the forgiveness part, and they shouldn't be, especially if they took a relatively small amount of money. Which, by the way, I'm going to talk about at the end, but Steve Mnuchin is also talking about a second PPP wave. Okay, but let me share here another piece that he said yesterday, again, before the House Committee on Small Business. Mr. Mnuchin said that the next round of money to support the economy should be targeted to help industries that have been the hardest hit by the pandemic, as well as smaller businesses and low to middle income families. Mr. Mnuchin also said that the Paycheck Protection Program, which provides forgivable small business loans, should be extended, but with a focus on helping restaurant, hotel, travel, and hospitality sectors. So this is the point I was just making. There is appetite for more funding, frankly, because it is, of course, necessary. Restaurants are being told to shut down again in many states, and whereas some industries are doing okay, these, of course, are still massively hit and massively hurt. So the suggestion is that these certain industries be helped. And so if you fall in one of these industries, you would be able to apply for another PPP loan. Again, that's what's being discussed. Okay. Lastly here, I'm going to share another take on what Steve said about getting these loans forgiven. Okay. Blanket forgiveness. So basically, he did not define how small a loan would have to be to qualify for automatic forgiveness, and added it should be paired with some form of fraud protection without going into detail. But, of course, the several business and banking groups, which I referenced, have pushed for the 150K mark. So they pushed for the blanket forgiveness for all loans under 150,000 to be converted into grants. Okay, so that's the main point here, which is good news. Obviously, if you're one of the millions of businesses that took that amount or under, then it would save you hours of time working with your banks. Every bank does it differently in terms of how to get forgiveness, but it has been stressful. So we hope that the hardest hit industries I just mentioned get a chance at another PPP round, whether you're in the restaurant, travel, tourism, or service industry. We hope that you will have a chance to apply for another PPP loan. Again, as soon as any news comes out of that or any progress, we'll do another video. Thank you so much for supporting our channel and subscribing. It helps YouTube identify this as an important topic and educational video, and it allows others to see this information so they're not stressed about forgiveness. Subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified if and when we announce another PPP opportunity. Thanks and take care.